multiplication and division with mixed numbers. So whenever we have mixed numbers involved, one of the things you want to do, and this is an old school method, which eliminates any error as long as your multiplication and division is correct, is go ahead and convert a mixed number to an improper fraction and then multiply straight across. Always reduce. Well, what I know don't change is the denominator, so I'm going to just write those down. And to convert it, a mixed number to improper, you always say denominator times whole number. In this case, it's 5 times 1. And then you're going to add it to the numerator. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And then now we reduce if possible. And I notice I have a 5 over a 5. That reduces down to 1. I have a 2 that goes into itself once, but goes into 6 3 times. Now I have 3 times 1 all over 1. So my answer is 3. Let's do B. So denominator don't change. Well, the second term is already written in a format that's not a mixed number, so we're going to leave it alone. It's a proper fraction. So on the first term, we're going to go 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23. Will it reduce? Well, I notice 3 goes into itself once and goes into 6 2 times. So now I'm left with 23 times 1 over 2 times 10, so it's 23 20s. Let's do C. All right, so let's start. All 3 of these are mixed numbers. The denominators do not change. So let's just go ahead and write this in a format. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. 2 times 16 is 32, plus 1, 33. Now, what you want to do is you want to look at everything you've got on top and see if it has a number on bottom that will reduce with it. I do see that 8 will go in itself once and go into 16 twice. I see that 3 will go into itself once and go into 33 11 times. I see 7 goes into itself once and goes into 14 2 times. So I was able to do all that. Now, for those of you that are visual, you may want to do this. 2 times 7 is 14 over that 3. 8 is, we're going to leave it alone, and we're going to leave 7 alone. 33 is 11 times 3, and 16 is 2 times 8. If I wrote it in that format, I noticed that the 7's reduce, right? Leaves me with 1 because it goes in itself once. 8's reduce, leaves me with 1. 3's reduce. So you could do it either method, whichever works for you. It leaves me with 2 times 1 times 1 times 11, which is 22. Leaves me with 1 times 1 times 2 times 1, which is 2. And these do reduce, right? Because I could have said, oh, well, that 2 reduced with that. You could have done that, but we got to this point here. I know that 2 goes in itself once into 22 11 times. So my answer is 11 here. I'm going to let you do D through F and ask me questions. So now we're going to find 3/5 of 40. So well, I got a fraction times that whole number. So we're going to reduce. I just put a 1 underneath the whole number. What happens? 5 goes in itself once and goes into 40 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. So that's my answer. This one here is 2/3 times, because of means multiply, guys. And let's convert the mixed number to improper. So denominator don't change. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. I know 2 goes in itself once and goes into 4 twice. 3 goes in itself once and goes into 21 7 times. 1 times 7 over 1 times 2. 7/2 is my answer. Okay, so these formulas on this next one, you definitely want to hang on to. So we're working with a rectangular form here in this application problem. And it says the area of a rectangular. So we have this and an area of a triangle. So we need to make sure and keep them separated. So Linda is farming a rectangular pasture that measures 5 1/4 inches long, 4 halves inches wide. What is the area of this? So we know we're going to take the area is length times width. So what I'm going to do is say 5/4 times 4 halves. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. Denominator don't change. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So now I'm going to say, does anything reduce? Well, in this case here, 21 is made up of 3 and 7, 9 is made up of 3, and the denominators are made up of 2s. So I got 21 times that 9 gives me 189 divided by 4 times 2 is 8. Now read the directions if it wants you to write it as a mixed number, if it wants you to leave it in an improper format, or if it wants it in decimal form. So just be sure and read what it asks us for. If it wants it in decimal form, of course, we're going to rewrite it like 23.625. Whoops. Be sure and read if where it wants you to round, if it wants you to write in decimal form. My apologies, guys. I'm on a page that's not allowing me to erase my writing. So now let's do the area of a triangle. The area of a triangle formula is going to be A equals half of the base times the height. All right, so we have a base of 6. So I got half times 6 times 2 1/4. I'm going to, you got 2 choices. You can go ahead and reduce the 6 and the 2, then multiply it however you want. I'm going to go ahead and reduce it. So I know 2 goes into 6 3 times 1. So now I got, and let me just do one more step, okay? So let's rewrite this. I got a half times that 6, and I'm going to put it over 1, times that 2 1/4. I got a half times that 6 over 1, and let's rewrite this. Remember, denominator don't change. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Now, if you wanted to do it this way, you could. 2 goes in itself once and goes into 6 3 times. I got 1 times 3 times 9 is 27. 1 times 1 times 4. And that's my final answer. This next one, a shop building measures 28 feet wide and 36 feet. So what is the area? We're talking about building. So it's going to be rectangular. So we have 28 times 36. All right, so 28 times 36 is going to be 1,008.